Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Scotland's justice system and its prison system are, of course, inextricably linked. But when the justice system wants to send someone to prison, the prison service can't cope. The prisons are too old, they're not built for purpose, they're massively overpacked with people, and the replacements are years behind schedule and millions over budget. It's almost as though it's intentional. And so what are they doing to alleviate the pressure? Well, the plan is simple. They're just going to look at the prisoners who are inside and release them. Not put them on parole, not expect them to turn up and get jobs, not expecting any kind of reporting. Just a plain old, okay, you can go free now. Justice surely should not only be done, but be seen to be done. And this, of course, will endanger the public, both at large and individual members of it, as these people are released early to go back and perhaps extract revenge on those who put them inside. Who thought this up? Who thought this was a good idea? Why aren't more prisons being built quicker? It's all the micromanagement, isn't it? It's the SNP. It's their very way. They can't leave things alone, so everything is late and expensive. But let's have a look at this, because this is truly, I feel, a danger waiting to happen. Here goes. So SNP, soft touch justice may see prisoners released with no restrictions under new plans. Not, of course, that they're putting that many people into prison. There's the guy the other day, we did the video, it was yesterday, wasn't it? We did the video of the guy that was going to be tried for R-ing a woman. And rather than actually trying him, they let him go. They've actually said, look, just do this little 6-week course. It's an hour a week for 6 weeks. And then you can sod off to America and get your football scholarship. So nice little reward there, you know. Rather than paying the price for what you do, you get rewarded for it. Because he was 24 and therefore too young to understand what was going on. Which is strange, because they want 8-year-olds to understand that they can change gender. Very weird people, aren't they, in the SNP? Double standards, perhaps. But when they do have to send someone to prison, it's deemed a bad place. So bad, as we've covered before, so bad that countries won't extradite to Scotland anymore because the prison system is seen as being torture. That's how bad it is. But anyway, the Scottish Conservative Shadow Justice Secretary Russell Findlay said the latest plans were deeply concerning, as prisoners say cells are unfit for purpose. Well, to be honest, if you didn't do the crime, you wouldn't be doing the time. It's your own fault you're in there. Prisoners may need to be released with no restrictions placed on them if action is not taken to reduce jail populations. Look at the ones who've served, say, 90% of their sentence. Maybe look at them and release them, but release them under parole. At least then they can be tracked, monitored. And it does free up space. How about that? Is that hard? What are you saying? You haven't got enough parole officers? Hire a few more. The head of the Scottish Prison Service has told the BBC that this is the case. Theresa Medhurst, the chief executive of the Scottish Prison Service, was interviewed as part of Disclosure, Prisons on the Brink, which is on BBC One Scotland this evening. A little plug for the show there, but hey, you know. Anyway, she told the programme that overcrowding in prisons is at a tipping point and that emergency powers may be needed to release inmates early. Ms Medhurst told the programme, if I have to say enough is enough, then that's because we're at tipping point. Build more prisons. They don't have to be good prisons. Basic, 6x8, throw a bed in, throw a toilet in, lock the door and tell them 23 hours a day, food through the gate, through the grill, and that's it. They're only prisoners. They don't deserve anything. These are the people that are going out and breaking the law and doing these crimes and harming people. Let them do their time. Give them one man to a cell, but just make them small cells and you can get more of them. They don't need anything special. Anyway, she says, we cannot take any more. Prisons become very unsafe. The atmosphere, the tension, the volatility increases. Levels of violence increase. Levels of self-harm increase. And at the moment, I'm confident that we can manage between now and the springtime. Why not put something into the food? Why not put something, that brings people down? Like not chemical castration, but that kind of thing. Something that, a soporific Perhaps that make everyone sort of a bit soft and soft, you know. What do they give it to people? Something anaesthetically downing. Something down. Bring them down. Stop the tension, wouldn't it? Make everyone calm. I'm happy with that. Everyone's happy. Literally. Anyway, Scottish Conservative Shadow Justice Secretary Russell Findlay said, "This warning from the head of Scotland's prison service is deeply concerning, but comes as no surprise to anyone who's been paying attention to the SNP government's negligent stewardship of the entire justice system. Under the SNP, the justice system is no longer fit for purpose. It's barely justice. And now, of course, we see that they want to get rid of juries. They want to release prisoners. It's almost as though the state wants to control every aspect of justice from a cabinet role to try and make Scotland as worse as it possibly can be, simply to push a point, perhaps. I don't know. Anyway, long overdue speaking is hard. Long overdue new jails in Glasgow and the Highlands are years late and many millions of pounds over budget, while the existing estate is falling apart. Organised crime gangs control rampant drug use behind bars, with under siege prison officers subject to threats, violence and health-harming contamination by psychoactive substances. He said all of this has resulted in a powder keg of conditions which fails to rehabilitate criminals and fuels addiction, resulting in even more crime on our streets. Freeing prisoners who are locked up for good reason is not the answer. And he's right, you're putting these people back on the street. It's going to damage people. They've got no hope. They're just going to continue doing crimes. So your crime rate goes up, then it looks even worse. And you're going, oh, how can we reduce the crime rate? I don't know. Have you tried, putting people in prison? Miss Medhurst added that projections for March and April made her less comfortable. The service could cope. Currently, 8,000 people are housed in Scotland's prisoners, with the population set to increase to 8,700. Build another couple of prisons. They don't have to be big ones. They don't have to be supermax. They just have to be rooms you can lock people up in. As part of the investigation into overcrowding in Scottish prisons, the BBC Disclosure Team was granted access to HMP Perth, which has a population of 662 prisoners, and the capacity is 630. BBC reporter Lucy Adam was escorted around the prison, which is Scotland's oldest, by Officer Craig Stewart. It's a Victorian prison, isn't it? So when you know you're likely to go to Perth, surely these things should stop you think, I don't want to go to prison. But of course, criminals tend not to be bright. Rephrase. The good criminals are bright because they are the ones that never get caught. But anyone who gets caught, not so bright. Anyway, she said, hypervigilance is a necessary part of everyday survival. Officers and inmates say, with many of those inside speaking to the BBC of their remorse and wanting to make amends. Their remorse is they're sitting in Perth. That's what that is. Chris Martin, an inmate at HMP Perth, well, to be honest, his music is criminal, isn't it? Said he will be released soon and says he wants to leave his mistakes behind him. And good luck. I mean, genuinely good luck. If someone goes in, they've done something stupid, they're in and they're out and they never do it again, fine. It's the recidivists that are the problem. They're the ones that must never be released. And this is where I say the 3 strikes and you're out policy is brilliant. 3 and then you're in for life. You're never getting out. And that's it. And you are giving this 2 good points. 1, you are literally taking criminals off the street. And 2, you're putting out a message that says, we're not dicking about here. You will go to prison for the remainder of your life. And you have a high capacity, high supermax kind of prison, high security prison, that these 3 strikers go into and they stay there for the rest of their lives. And even if the third one is only stealing a donut, it doesn't matter, it's a theft. Bang, you're in. Anyway, Brian Kinloch is an HMP Perth on remand. He's awaiting trial. Kinloch, who grew up in care, said, since I've been in, I've been trying to access mental health support, which has been very difficult. It'll be a 7-month waiting list. Jesus, he could be out from his sentence before he gets the mental health he needs. But this is all part of it. This is all part of the problem. Nobody in the SNP cares. They've known about this for years and they've done nothing. And all they do is micromanage, change this, rather than saying, just go and build us a prison, will you? There's some money. Go away and build us a prison. And then build one. But no, you've got to do this and this and this and this. And they try and split it to make it look as though they're doing far more than they're actually doing. Build one, walk away. Hand the money and walk away. Let them build it. Stop dicking. He said, it's difficult for most people. He said there was a self-ending there. Young boy, 24-year-old. This is more like a mental health facility than a prison, he said. And like I said, the boy down there didn't have 7 months in him. He was given 7 months and couldn't make it. He said there was a contingency planning which could see the Scottish Government beginning an early release scheme if numbers get too high. I get people towards the end of their terms and do release them if it's a problem. But only the ones that are like 90% or so of the way through. But you put them onto parole. Don't just release them out into the wild. You don't know what's going to happen. It's stupidity. Anyway, I'm coming up. Like I say, I can see a certain logic to some of it, but it has to be, near end term prisoners. Also, it can't be anyone who's caused any kind of physical harm. It can only be non-physical offences. They've got to be the ones you release, where it's offences against property rather than against people. That could be another sort of excluding thing. But just a blanket release, simply to make up numbers, it's dangerous, surely. It's so very, very dangerous. And build more prisons. You're going to need them, because as the economy in Scotland collapses, crime will go rampant. And nobody's addressing the drug aspect, which also drives a huge amount of crime. Because you've got the person responsible for that, not even at her post. The person responsible for justice is Angela Constance, who hasn't got a clue. And is too woken up her own backside to see the problems. You've got finance with Shona Robinson, who can't add up and so can't provide enough money to build the prisons. Is it any wonder? I don't think so. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.